planning for retirement someday, but this morning we're talking about those who enter their next life chapter in the next few years.
Yeah, financial advisors say there are 5 steps to take before you actually retire. Jon Penn with RIA Advisors is here this morning to go through them. Good morning, Jon.
Good morning. How are you guys?
Great. So first off, obviously this may change depending on your lifestyle, but how much should somebody have in the bank to retire comfortably in the next 5 years?
You know, that's such a great question, and that number is different for everybody. And it really comes down to, what are your plans for retirement? What do you think you're going to spend? What do you think your expenses are going to be? Where are you going to live? Are you going to remain where you're currently living now, or maybe are you going to move somewhere else? So that, in our experience, that number can be quite different, and it really goes back to one's, own personal specific situation. But to your point, there are some things that you can do ahead of time. If you're 5 years or more away from retirement, there are some things that you can do now to start planning for that journey. And one of those, first and foremost, is looking at what are you going to do for your health insurance? I mean, your health insurance, your medical related expenses are typically a very high ticket expense item in retirement. And if you retire younger than, let's say, 65 years young, what are you going to do for your medical insurance? So sometimes employers will allow you to stay on their plan, or if not, perhaps you can use COBRA for up to 18 months. But if that 18 months isn't long enough and there's going to be a gap there before you turn 65 years young, you're going to need to explore a private medical insurance policy. And a great resource for that to see what's available in your state and to get an idea about what you may pay for medical premiums is healthcare.gov. It's a great resource that folks can use.
Good to know. You also got to tackle your debt and then figure out your estimated budget.
That's right. Yeah, I would say most of the retirees that I visit with that have a very successful, fulfilling retirement and they're just less stressed are those retirees that have very little to no debt. And that's a key. And so if you're 5 years or so away from retirement, if you have some debts that you want to pay off, start paying those off now, start chipping away at that versus waiting till the last minute, because that way you can avoid making a rash or a radical change. And it allows your money that you've set aside in your tax-deferred, or even better yet, tax-free retirement accounts to continue to work for you, right? And you mentioned the budget. I know budgeting can kind of be a little bit of around a 4-letter word when it comes to retirement. But put a budget together. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to hit it on the penny. But start looking at or start thinking about expenses that you may have when you're retired. Not just your basic living expenses, but what about travel? What if you have to replace a vehicle? Are you going to move? What do you plan to spend on housing? Do you have loved ones that you may need to provide care for? So it's good to get an idea about what you think you may need to spend. And then once you put that initial budget together, just go back and check on it at least once a year, just to make sure you're monitoring your spending and keeping yourself on track.
So, Jon, really quickly, you mentioned that you have to figure out what your automatic income will be. What does that mean exactly?
Yeah, so automatic income, great question. Things that will come to you like Social Security. What if you have pension income? What about annuities? Payments that are going to come to you on an automatic, regular schedule that you can count on. And there are some decisions that you need to make about when is the right time for you to start receiving or claiming your Social Security, because you can start claiming your Social Security anytime from 62 up until age 70. The longer that you delay the receipt of your Social Security, you get about an 8% increase per year on what that benefit is. So if you have longevity in your family, maybe it makes sense for you to delay taking the receipt of your Social Security. So you really need to see what those fixed automatic income streams will be, and will that be enough income to cover your expenses?
All right, and we also just want to say, we talked about it last week, Social Security could be ending in 10 years, so keep that in mind if you're adding that into your auto payment. Just keep an eye on that situation, and then start converting money from high risk to higher certainty investments. Thanks for taking time to walk us through this, and we really need to just, take this seriously and figure out our future.
Yeah, get ready for it. Thanks, Jon.
Well, thank you both. You're very welcome.